Nós estamos hoje aqui em mais um Papo Fácil, um baita Papo Fácil especial. Eu estou com o Rajesh Ganesan, presidente da ManageEngine. É uma grande satisfação. Vamos ter essa conversa em inglês. Rajesh, it's a big pleasure to have the opportunity to have this conversation with you. I had many interviews with ManageEngine before. There's a playlist, my YouTube channel. I will put a shortcut here for everyone that wants to watch. I'd like to introduce you at the very beginning of our conversation. Make a briefly introduction of the ManageEngine for the people that eventually didn't know yet.
Yeah. Thank you to you also, Flavio. I'm very happy to be on your show. For people who already do not know about ManageEngine, we are a company that is 20 years old. We started in 2002, having just a couple of products for managing enterprise IT environment. And in our 20th year, we are a platform of 60 different products that help our customers who are the enterprise IT divisions of big corporations. These are organizations under the CIO running complex technology operations. They could use the ManageEngine platform to manage their technology infrastructure. ManageEngine is part of Zoho Corporation. They are technically the same company. Zoho delivers products for business applications. Businesses needing applications end-to-end, right? So from the cloud is Zoho, and ManageEngine focuses on providing a platform with a set of tools to manage the enterprise IT infrastructure.
Yeah. It is a very challenging solution you provide because year after year, the IT solutions is becoming more and more important for the people. Right. Today, you had the digital transformation that many companies accelerate because of the pandemic and many other things. But today, you are here in Brazil. It's a very special occasion. There is a study that you presented for the people here, and some of the conclusions of this study is very important. I would like you to summarize the study, and after that I have many questions to do to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. We commission a study like this every year for both us to understand the trends that is happening in the market, and it's also an opportunity for us to educate our customers back, because we all have to learn from our experiences, right, of one another, share knowledge with one another. We run a global survey to understand from most of our customers and industry colleagues about what are the current challenges in terms of IT going forward, technology going forward, because we all went through this bad times in the last 2 years, right? A lot of things became mainstream, things like hybrid work, remote work, right? So you talked about digital transformation and how it got accelerated in the last couple of years. All of that will have a big influence in terms of how we all work, right? So this is, no one is spared, no organization is spared. So we commissioned a study of how IT is going to be in the future, how cybersecurity will change in the future. There are many interesting points. I invite people to just go to manageengine.com, learn more about the study. To summarize, I'll tell you some top 3 points, which is specific to Brazil. We have data from different regions of the world. From Brazil, these 3 points stand out. 84% of the respondents in Brazil, they think the way their company does security today has to change. They think the security model, the security processes, the security tools that their company uses has to change, right? So
today is a different world.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a completely different world. It's interesting to see like so many people think that it has to change. The second point, most important point, right? So that follows that is only 13% of the respondents actually feel security is the responsibility of everybody in the organization, which means 87% probably think you can outsource security to a separate team, right?
Security is not an issue that is responsible for the 3 or 4 people inside that hidden room.
I totally agree with you, which is why this is very surprising, right? 84% think security should change, but only 13% think it is the responsibility of everybody in the organization. The third important point, like to go with the times, staggeringly, 96% of the respondents in Brazil think their company could use the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning in a lot better ways to improve automation, to improve service delivery, to improve their security operation, right? Which means they give a thumping approval to the usage of these new technologies. So to me, these 3 points stand out. And now I'll let you ask me questions from these or more, and we can discuss more always.
Sure. About cybersecurity, that is becoming more and more important every day, actually. You said that the security model is changing.
Right.
Do you think there is any special recommendations or special tools or any behaviors that must change to address this problem?
Yeah, absolutely. The point that I mentioned first, right? 84% think the security model should change. I also would be saying the same thing, right? Because I see in many companies, security is taken as how people look out working out, right? We all know our health is important. We want to have good health. We know following a good workout regimen and following good diet helps, right? But despite knowing that, we don't do it well, right? So we actually think we can do it tomorrow. Like, this is exactly what companies think. Security could be outsourced. Security need not be done by me. There are other 99% in the company who will do it. It's just me. Let me do what I want. It's not going to matter, right? This is the thinking. So when it comes to security, the model, the culture, the thinking, the approach should change, right? Which is why, to give you an example, there is a lot of hype and buzz around this term called zero trust, right? I had a lot of difficulty trying to understand, like anybody else in the industry, is that a product? Is that a tool? Is that a magical solution? End of the day, you realize it is a cultural thing, right? So what it actually means is, so far, we have approached security as it is someone else's problem. It is not something I need to like follow on a daily basis, right? It is like hygiene. I'll follow when I want. I'll like take it easy when I don't want, right? It's used to be the model. That has to change. So which is where something like a paradigm, a model like zero trust comes in. It helps a lot. Companies should not look at it as a tool or as a solution, but look at it as a culture, which means the person inside the company could be the CEO, could be the CIO, right? Or could be someone who is joining the organization just today. It doesn't matter. Your role, your location, none of it matters. You all have the same level of trust when it comes to your access to information. You are privileged to do some action. You are the CEO, you are the CFO, you have entitlement to do some action. You have access or entitlement to information only for the time period that you need it for. I need access to information for 30 minutes. I need to work on a particular task for 2 days. It is when all access opens up, and it automatically, everything gets revoked after that. So regardless of who you are, on a normal day, you don't have access to anything. So your trust is computed dynamically. So if you think about it, this is a new approach. What happens, why I say culturally, is because when you bring this practice in, a lot of senior employees revolt. They come back saying, like, I have worked in this company for 20 years. Sure. Would you not trust me? Don't do this to me. Give all access to me. They see it as their privilege. If you take that privilege off, they don't take it well, right? But this culture has to change. So this is how security should be relooked at, right? This is the model change we are advocating. Hope that makes sense.
This is very important because today the companies are borderless and
Yes.
remote working changed everything.
Yes, of course. So I talked about the model change, the culture change. The next important point you bring about is equally important. It is becoming borderless, which means you have to relook security in a totally different way. companies still are very legacy minded, right? In the sense they think you protect your boundaries, you protect your perimeter, you have the perception of everything being safe, right? That is no longer the case because you no longer have a boundary, you no longer have a perimeter. How do you approach? So we advocate this model. How at ManageEngine we look at security. You have to look at protecting the identities. So the first and foremost is identity security. And when I say identity security, it is identity of your people, your devices, your applications. Every component in the infrastructure should be identifiable. Any action any of these entity does should be accountable, traceable, right? So this is very, very important. It could be a person doing a job. It could be an automated task that is like reading some data, moving some data, deleting some data. Everything should be audited. Everything should be recorded, reconciled, right? So this is identity security. Why some entity is doing some action, right? So that has to be proven beyond doubt. The second important point is you also have endpoint security. Identity security is first, endpoint security comes second, which means people could use any device that they have access to do their corporate job. Your mobile phone, your personal laptop, a tab inside your browser, app inside your mobile phone, your televisions with camera in your conference room, everything becomes an endpoint because all of them becomes vectors for attack, right? You have to have a holistic view in terms of how you protect your endpoints. And third comes infrastructure security. You look at your on-premises, your cloud, your virtual infrastructure as one whole thing. So this is how ManageEngine is envisioning, building a platform. You protect identity security, endpoint security, and holistic infrastructure security from one platform is how we advocate companies also approach security.
Well, I will invite you to join two different concepts, but absolutely they are related.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence is not a trend anymore. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And security, as we are talking about, how can artificial intelligence can help security issues and even in other business processes?
Yeah. So, as you rightly said, right, it's not a trending topic anymore.
No.
Everybody does some kind of artificial intelligence.
Even my smartphone has.
Everything has, right? So all the devices has. So yeah, it is end of the day, if you have any kind of intelligence, that helps, right? Whether it's natural or artificial. So you want to have intelligence to have the extra edge, right? For you to be more productive or for you to do less mistakes, right? So, or to make predictions, have better insights. This is where artificial intelligence helps. It's basically looking into the data. As a person, I have my knowledge, right? I go back to my knowledge, right? Based on my ability to think, I come up with insights. It's the same with the algorithms, right? So that is artificial intelligence. To your questions, so there are many areas where you can apply artificial intelligence. So two specific areas that I can immediately tell you. When we talk about security, I've been advocating it should be everybody's responsibility, right? Every single person inside the company should be responsible for information security, but it's not an easy task to accomplish. You have to educate, train every employee to know about the importance of security, to know how to do things right, to know when they are making a mistake because they learn from their mistakes or they don't repeat. It cannot happen by putting people inside a classroom and teaching them once a year, right? Because half of them are going to sleep and the rest would forget it in a week, right? So where artificial intelligence could help is you have intelligence in your software, in your tool. So when a user does any action, it pops up as an assistant and tells them when they do any mistake. So this way, the education, the training is both continuous and contextual, right? So you are not teaching them in a classroom. I can give you an example. So when I could be a salesman working in my Salesforce or the Salesforce automation tool, my CRM tool, my customer support tool, I won't be thinking about where I am or which network I am connected. I am like downloading information, saving attachments, I'm taking screenshots, forwarding information, sharing information, all of that. But your software, your security software should have the intelligence to know my location, the device I am using, the network I am connected to. Depending on that, dynamically it computes and tells me, right? You are probably not in the right place to be doing this action.
Anticipating threats.
Exactly. The first time it does, second time it does, the users start to notice. 10, 20, 30 times it says, it subconsciously registers in their mind, right? Saving an attachment with customer information, with revenue information is something I need to think and do, right? Sharing somebody's personal information on a chat, on a casual chat, is something I cannot do, right? So when the system pops up 50 times, 100 times over the last 2 months, right, saying you are trying to share someone's phone number with your colleagues on an informal channel, right? This is how you contextually teach people. For this, you can use artificial intelligence. The second area of application is obviously anomaly detection, right? So from all the actions that your entities have done, it's all your users, your network, your applications, you have a lot of data. From these data, you'll be able to apply machine learning and understand when something goes unusually wrong, right? A person is supposed to only work during 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And one day, right? So they are like logging in unusual hours. This is an anomaly, right? So you have a very important application. On an average day, the number of read requests used to be like, say, 2,000 or 2,500. One fine day, the number of hits like suddenly is 20,000. This is an anomaly. You cannot write rules to identify such anomalies. This is where you need machine learning, right? So these are simple use cases, right? How do you identify anomalies? How do you contextually teach your employees? How do you make better predictions? A person is going to apply a patch to 2,000 computers, right? So the system should have the intelligence to tell the person, maybe you are not taking care of these 3 points, this action could fail, right? Do you want to check these additional points and then retry this action? These are things your artificial intelligence engine could bring a lot of value to.
Well, our time is running fast, but I have many points to ask you. As you said before the pandemic, there was a concept being discussed, in discussion, that is shadow IT, that I know you don't agree that is a perfect name, but with the pandemic, many people working from their homes, I think this issue becomes a little more difficult to deal with. How can we manage that, and how do you name this kind of problem?
Yeah, I know. Like shadow IT is a negative term according to
a little bit negative.
Don't call it shadow. I will use the word democratized IT or decentralized IT, right? So this is technology done by departments outside of IT, right? This used to be called as shadow IT, which sort of had the assumption that technology should be done by a central team, right? Should be only done by one team inside a company. That is not the case anymore. Like I've been giving this example since morning. Take the HR function in our company, Zoho Corporation. We hire a lot of people, right? So thousands of people. Our HR would have to process tens of thousands of resumes, right? It is not humanly possible to manually look at all the resumes and pick the right ones. You need technology. You need artificial intelligence to sort of capture all the information from Word docs, PDF files, right? Images, and look into the keywords and identify the right candidates that you want to go and interview, right? How would you do that? The HR team cannot be 100% reliant on the IT team. They can use whatever tool they want to use, but the IT should be in the background facilitating this.
Monitoring some way
that they do not violate the privacy laws, that they do not make mistakes when it comes to the security posture of the company, all of that. This is how the value of IT team goes up. They are no longer doing the installation of the software, commissioning the software. They are looking at governing the technology operations of the entire company. They act like the government, facilitating the individual states, right? Which are the individual departments in the organization to have full autonomy, the way they want to run, but at the same time, have complete governance, exercise complete governance over all those teams. So I don't want to call it shadow IT. The IT teams should encourage other departments to have their own technology expertise and sort of champion this democratized IT model across the organization. So that will be a lot better model.
The same way the people today are working in a spread way, the IT resources must be something like that also. It must be managed.
Yes.
In some way.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I will go back to the first topic, but with a challenge for you.
Okay.
All the companies today are looking for innovation in many ways.
Right.
This is important to the companies to survive in the market.
Right.
How can IT people can deal with this innovation and cybersecurity? Are those terms allied or enemies?
Interesting question. So I'll give you my personal take, right? I want to again see it in an optimistic way, like how I looked at IT as democratized or decentralized IT. You don't want to look at IT as a specialized function or innovation as a special function, security as a special function, right? Only when you do that, you are looking at both those things are allies or enemies, right? Make security a fundamental responsibility of everybody in the company, right? Make innovation a job requirement regardless of your position. You are expecting only one set of people to be innovative, one set of people to sort of bring security. This compartmentalized thinking is not going to help you going forward, right? We are looking at flat structures because people have all the knowledge today. You go to Google, you can become an expert in whatever you want. So innovation, security, productivity, automation, make it a responsibility of every person in the company. You don't even have the situation of having to make your innovation and security to be enemies or allies. You completely flip your approach. You have a very optimistic approach where you make everyone responsible for most of these underlying functions, is how you would address this situation as a true leader.
Great. Rajesh, it was a privilege to be here with you, the opportunity to have this conversation. I hope you come back other times here to Brazil. If we can meet again, it will be fantastic.
My pleasure to Flavio. It was a very interesting conversation. I loved doing this for you and for your audience. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Este foi mais um Papo Fácil aqui com Rajesh Ganesan, presidente da ManageEngine. Thank you very much and see you next time. Thank you.
Obrigado.